wish to live in a healthy and clean environment. More importantly, an environment that is conducive for us. A conducive environment is crucial to enable us not just to live and function normally, but also able to express our creativity and perform best at our work and tasks. Such an environment is divided into intrinsic needs and extrinsic needs. Let us look at intrinsic needs, which involve needs obtained from the inner environment that we live in, which is our home. Inside our home, we would need food as a basic necessity to obtain energy, vitamins and minerals for us to remain healthy and strong, the right temperature for us to feel comfortable, and the right amount of oxygen and lighting for an optimum life. Now, let us look at extrinsic needs, which involve needs obtained from the outer environment that we live in, which is the external condition of our home. These include sun exposures, amounts of rain, speed of wind, and possible thunderstorms, which will ultimately affect the way we live. The same applies to the world of microorganisms. When it comes to food bioprocess, foods are the home to various types of microorganisms. Microorganisms are very small, and thus, a small piece of food is an entire planet for the small microorganisms. As humans have intrinsic and extrinsic needs, so do microorganisms. The needs of microorganisms exist at a simpler scale, of course. Humans need carbohydrate to obtain energy, while microorganisms obtain energy from simple forms of carbohydrates, which are carbon sources. Microorganisms have different ways of obtaining carbon sources. The autotrophs are able to obtain carbon sources directly from carbon dioxide and are able to synthesize organic molecules from inorganic molecules. The heterotrophs cannot synthesize organic molecules from inorganic nutrients and thus need to obtain organic forms of carbon and hydrogen. Let's look at an example of microorganisms decomposing plant-based foods. Microorganisms produce enzymes to hydrolyze complex carbohydrates such as cellulose into simpler sugars, such as glucose, so that they can utilize as energy sources. Hemiselulosa and cellulose are considered as high-energy foods for microorganisms and are thus the first targets, while lignin are low-energy foods and thus are less targeted by microorganisms. Not all microorganisms are able to hydrolyze hemicellulose and cellulose, as different microorganisms have different enzymes. Thus, not all microorganisms can live on plant-based foods. Let us look at how these enzymes work and how these enzymes enable plant-based microorganisms to live in plants. All microorganisms need simpler carbohydrates, and thus, their enzymes must be able to chop the longer and complex carbohydrates into smaller pieces. Some microorganisms can consume shorter carbohydrates, such as polysaccharides, while others can only consume the basic building blocks of simple sugars, such as glucose.